Hello everyone and welcome to Marty Motoring. If you clicked on this video, you probably really like engines. You like cars, you like fast cars. And that's kind of what my channel has been about for the last few years. I leased this car for 2 years. I'm 6 months in and I wanted to give you my real and honest opinion on electric cars, and this one specifically, the Hyundai Ioniq 6 SEL all-wheel drive. I got this as a business lease. I have over 7,000 miles on it already, taken some road trips and gotten a really good idea of where it's lacking and where it does well. So let's look at the pros and cons of electric cars in general and talk a little bit more about this one. I've owned 26 gasoline cars, I believe. I'm used to oil changes, coolant changes, doing brakes, and just pretty much everything else you can think of on a performance car. There's nothing like shifting gears on a rear-wheel drive manual car, feeling the engine, the transmission. Well, this is a totally different experience. It's smooth, fast, quiet, instant torque, instant power, and honestly really fun. And I didn't think I would think that when I first test drove this. I said, you know what? There's a lease deal on this. Let me go take a look at it, see if it's for me. It's going to be a business car anyway, and I ended up actually really liking it. The instant power, the instant torque, the ease of charging, overall has been really good. So when I say electric cars, a lot of people think of Tesla right away. They kind of pioneered the adoption of mainstream electric production vehicles. Hyundai, a legacy brand, has come out with their own electric cars over the past few years. They've been around for a while and they're recently becoming more mainstream, while Hyundai has been stepping it up with their 800-volt architecture and their design and just putting out more and more electric vehicles. A lot of people have concerns about charging, government intervention, and more, so hopefully I can address all that in this video. One of the big concerns with a lot of car enthusiasts is that the electric car will replace the internal combustion engine. We've seen some manufacturers slow down their EV production. Some of them aren't selling very well, and some of them are having great lease deals. So why is that? I think people are kind of slow to adopt the electric vehicle. There was a big push for it in the last few years, and a lot of people just aren't ready to give up their internal combustion engines, and that's totally okay. You see Toyota, for example, they have a lot of hybrids, so you're getting the best of both worlds. You can fill up in 5 minutes, hit the road, and you're getting great gas mileage. You get that instant torque with the battery, but you also have an engine that requires some maintenance. The big thing with electric cars is charging. If you have a fast charger around you, this car can charge in like 15 minutes, not bad at all. I have a level 2 charger at my home. It takes about 7 to 8 hours overnight, but I wake up and I have a full charge. I can get about 250 to 280 miles on that, which is a little less than a gas counterpart, say like an Elantra or something like that. But this vehicle has a lot of other pros. So that is one of the cons, charging. If you don't have a fast charging infrastructure, it might limit you what you can do with your electric vehicle. Now, I've taken this on road trips, found Electrify America chargers, and been able to charge in 15 minutes. That hasn't been a problem, and it actually was free. So when you get a Hyundai, you lease it or you buy it, the first 2 years with Electrify America, you get free 30-minute charging sessions. And lucky for you, charging only takes about 15 to 20 minutes, from 10% to 80%. I let mine go from about 15% to 90% in that same amount of time. I'll go use the bathroom wherever I am, where the charging station is, and come back out and I'm ready to go. And when I'm home, I get to charge very cheaply. So the big thing with electric cars is you are saving money. Now, if you're buying a new car, say $50,000, you can buy a $50,000 car that takes gas. You know, you're gonna fill up maybe $40, $60, $80 to fill that thing up, depending if it takes regular or premium fuel. Or an electric car, I pay 13 cents a kilowatt at home with distribution charges. So that's all calculated in there. So it's about $10 to fully charge this thing, which is really cheap. Now on the public chargers, you're gonna pay a little more. Of course, with Electrify America, I always try to go for those because they're free. You'll see a lot of Hyundais at those charging stations while this promotion's going on. Now in the future, are those rates gonna go up? Maybe. It depends how much energy and electricity goes up. Luckily, electricity is everywhere, so as long as more of these stations are installed, I think electric cars could be a viable option. As a kind of cost comparison, it's cost me about $250 to go over 7,000 miles in the last 6 months. Now in comparison, it would have cost maybe $1,200 with my Lexus LS 460. As far as efficiency, that's where these cars shine. Also no emissions, there's no exhaust, there's no noise, there's no vibration. It's just quiet and smooth. I have an inspection sticker for safety, but no emissions here in Pennsylvania. Just because of the shape of this car, I'd have this windshield replaced because a rock flew up, chipped it, cracked it, had that replaced, about 400, 500 bucks. So that was one running cost that I've had. One thing you may have noticed is the weird shape of this thing. Kind of has Porsche bug vibes. It looks like an egg also, a lot of people say. It's because it has a coefficient of drag of 0.21, making it one of the most aerodynamic vehicles produced, which I thought was pretty crazy. Hyundai locked down that design. I mean, they've been getting into crazier and crazier designs. This is built on the same platform, I believe, as the EV6, the Kia, and then the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is kind of the hatchback slash SUV. Now, I did really like the looks of the 5 and the practicality of an SUV, but the lease deal was on the 6. And I also liked it in white. So I showed up to the dealer, they had the all-wheel drive in white, they had the lease deal. I was like, it's a sign. It's the only one they had for 100 miles. So I got it, and honestly, I don't regret it. At first, I was like, electric car, I don't know. I sold my other cars and have just been driving this because it's so fast, efficient, smooth. And when you get on the highway, you just go, and there's no drama, there's no noise, no vibration, no weird exhaust smells, no cats going bad. You just go, and that's it. It's great to have the family in. My daughter likes it. Every time we accelerate, she feels the G-force, and she has a lot of fun in it. It's just a quiet car all around, so it's almost luxury-esque. Like, it makes sense for luxury vehicles to go electric, like the Rolls-Royce I got to drive a few months ago, the Spectre. I mean, it just makes sense. Quiet, fast, efficient, electric. So am I all in on electric vehicles? Not yet, or at least maybe half. We also own a 2007 Ford Ranger XL. It's the most basic work truck. It's more of a project right now. It's manual. That's my hauler, so I don't have to use my business vehicle, kind of my personal vehicle. And then we also have, my fiance drives a 2004 Lexus ES330 with 280,000 miles, something like that. That's been very cheap to maintain, cheap oil changes, front wheel drive. There's not a really whole lot it needs. Very comfortable, smooth, quiet car overall. It's a good car we can just rack up miles on. It takes regular gas and it's not too much to fill up. Where my Lexus LS 460 that I had, it was a big boat, took $80 to fill up, wasn't very efficient, was almost 5 times the cost to run than this, especially with this oil changes in that V8. But the ES330, so it's a 3.3 liter V6, and it's not bad at all. Same with the Ford Ranger. That's a 4-cylinder, cheap oil changes, easy to maintain. Now, the one thing I really do like about electric cars is the no maintenance. Little to no. Now, this is a brand new car, so most brand new cars you aren't gonna have to do crazy maintenance to start, but I'm at almost 7,500 miles, maybe a little over. I haven't done an oil change or anything, which that's pretty awesome. I do need to rotate the tires, and that's about it. So now I'm in the car. I have 7,600 miles on this, 7,624. A lot of people ask me if I miss the sound of a car. I've had V8s, fast shifting cars, manual cars, and sometimes yes. When you hit a back road in the twisties, this handles really well. A lot of people have this misconception that electric cars are only good in the straight line. This thing is awesome. It'll do the electric slide, especially in turns. And sometimes I do miss the sound of a car, but I have my Ranger and it is a 4-cylinder, but you know, it does make sound. It gives you that visceral experience. This, not so much. It does make a kind of interesting sound below 25 miles per hour for pedestrians. I get a lot of looks in this car and it's more like, what the heck is that thing and why is it making that noise? Teslas don't do that, and I think they're gonna have to start doing that because there's some kind of law for pedestrian of alertness, awareness. I'm not sure exactly, but do I miss the sound of a car? Sometimes, but you get really used to how quiet, smooth, and fast this is, and you don't really care because you can just pass people quietly on the highway and they don't even know. You don't have to blow their eardrums out if their windows are down. So no, it doesn't make a lot of sounds, but with an electric car, really the only thing you're worried about is how much battery you're using. You know, are you speeding a lot? Is the AC cranked? That's one downside. With an internal combustion engine, the air conditioning and power steering on a belt is basically free. There's no extra power involved. With a electric car, it has to power the AC and power the heat, and there's coolant lines that run through the battery to heat it and cool it. And that is one downside because that uses power. Another thing is battery fires. I'm sure they have a lot of insulation on these and they designed them well to prevent that, but battery fires are really hard to put out in the very rare cases that they happen. When I looked up the statistic, gas fires do catch fire more, but you're going to hear about it in the news because electric cars are new and kind of trendy, that electric cars catch more fire. It's just kind of how the news works and social media and everything like that. Right near me, a mile from here, there was a Tesla on fire at the gas station and it made national news. Teslas catch fire, watch out everybody. And that is scary. That's a legitimate concern. I don't park this indoors. I park it in my driveway outside. Even when I'm charging it, it is outside. Another concern is green. These cars are not green. They've been marketed as green. They've been pushed as green. Yes, they don't make any emissions. That's true. This is super clean. We don't breathe any exhaust in the cabin. We're not polluting. But the process for mining the lithium and making the batteries does cause pollution like anything else. And recycling batteries is a concern, as there's not really a good process for it yet. But we live in a world of rechargeable batteries, smartphones, laptops. Cars are definitely a bigger scale and could be an issue, but hopefully the technology advances and we can find ways to repair the batteries or recycle them properly and replace them. Now, battery tech is advancing and these batteries can last 10 to 15 years. They say, we've seen that on some Teslas, and I'm part of a Hyundai Ioniq group, and someone has over 200,000 miles on theirs. I think their car's 2 years old. They had one of the first models, 200,000 miles on a battery. That's awesome, and very little degradation. That is another concern, the degradation. So no, they're not green. Yes, they do degrade, but not at the rate that we've kind of been told. Like, I've been told electric cars are only fast in a straight line. The batteries die so fast in 5 years and you got to replace it, and it's the price of the car. Not true at all. And they catch fire all the time. Also not true. So those are the concerns people have, and I haven't experienced any of that. To kind of have some fun with the whole idea of not being green, I made this decal coal powered, because a lot of our energy does come from coal here in America. We have windmills, we have nuclear power, but we also have coal power. So I thought that was funny just to put on there, because both sides of the argument can't really argue with that. No, the car's not green, it's coal powered. No, electric cars aren't bad for the environment, they're coal powered. They help American industry. So it's kind of just stirring the pot, honestly, but I thought it was kind of funny. People like to say EVs are super heavy, they're tearing up the roads. My Lexus was heavier than this. This is a very lightweight car. That was the whole design idea behind it. Lightweight plastics, recycled plastics. You have this pixel design. Very retro 80s. The spoiler lights up as the third brake light. Now, it's not as smart as a Tesla. It doesn't have cameras all around. It doesn't even have a front camera. This is the SEL all-wheel drive. The next step up is the Limited. That has a lot more features. This has most of them. Leather seats, all-wheel drive, backup camera, and parking sensors and things like that. Now, you'll notice the door handles are really interesting. They pop outwards and then they fold in when you're driving, when you put it into drive or lock it. So here, I'll lock it. Well, that's for aerodynamics. That's how it has a 0.21 coefficient of drag, which I thought is pretty cool and makes the car look sleek and streamlined. Over here, we have our charge port door, which is where a gas tank would normally be on the passenger side. But this is the charger most anything that's not Tesla uses. So you'll find that at anywhere that's not Tesla. And Tesla's supposed to be integrating this type of charger soon. So at the superchargers. So hopefully we'll see that and we can just charge at Tesla stations. But for now, that's what we have. This car also does feature the 20-inch wheels, which you do lose a little bit of range. If you get this car with the 18-inch wheels, you get like 30 more miles of range. And now that we've seen the charge door, I can address charging times. So like I said earlier in the video, I have a level 2 charger at my house. It takes about 7 to 8 hours to fully charge it. And that's with a 48 amp or 11 kilowatt per hour charger. This has a 77 kilowatt hour battery. So I think about 7-8 hours. 90 to 100 is always slow. 10 to 80 is pretty quick, or 0 to 80. and then 80 to 90 is a little bit slower than the 10 to 80, and then 90 to 100 is just always longer. That's just how electric cars work. I'm not exactly sure of all the science behind it, but what I can say is the cost to entry or barrier to entry was a little bit high, being my first electric car. So I leased the car, I did put some money down, got a good payment. You know, insurance is about the same cost as my Lexus was, so not bad. You know, there I'm about at the same cost. But then I had to get an electrician that came out and added a 220 to my garage, a plug, and that was about $275. And then I bought a charger on Amazon, the Apex Level 2 charger, and that was $350. So $350 plus $275, that was pretty much my barrier to entry to get it charging at home. I didn't want to use public chargers. It's just so much more convenient at home. I come home at the end of the day, say I have 20%, plug it in the morning, I wake up, I have 100 or 90, whatever I set it to. I usually do 100 for longer trips, 90 for around town. I can't complain there because it is so cheap. It's just added to my power bill. There's no money coming out of my pocket every week for gas, so that is super nice. At a fast charger, 350 kilowatt hour, you can charge in 15 minutes, like I said. So that was something else people have asked me, like, how do you charge it? Can you go anywhere? Is it gonna die on you while you're driving? It's like, no. There's so many safeguards and software that it just works perfectly, and I've never had an issue. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier, when my friend Sofyan from Redline Reviews tested this car 0 to 60, he got 4.3 seconds, I believe it was, which makes it pretty quick overall. Now it's not Tesla quick, but that is pretty decent, and you can feel it when you just step on it. You get that instant torque and power. There's no engine sound, but this thing definitely moves. Oh yeah, you feel that push you back in your seat. So for the interior of this car, it has this like light gray interior, and then you have this very modern looking setup here. The doors, I believe, are recycled plastic. You have our speaker here. The sound system's actually really good. I'm a musician and audiophile, I feel, and I think it's good. With legacy brands, you do have this start-stop button. Most cars, electric cars, don't really need that, but it is nice to let you know the car is on. Now this car inside features two 12.3-inch displays, I believe is the size, and yeah, you have your Eco, Sport, and Normal. You definitely feel a difference, but Eco only uses the rear motor. This has two motors since it's all-wheel drive, one in the front, one in the back. Normal uses both and just kind of limits throttle and gives you more range. And then Sport will give you the most torque and kind of throw you back in your seat. The Apple CarPlay, everything works well. This does have seat warmers, climate works well, and there's a bunch of options as well as ambient lighting that you can change. Right now, I believe I have it set to blue and red. I do love this white color on the outside, but the light interior does show messes, especially with a 2-year-old. AC vents back here as well as USB-C, so that's pretty nice. The seats do fold down, and overall this car is very practical. Tons of legroom back here, I will say that. Very comfortable for adults. I even fit back there at 6'1". In the rear, we have this very Porsche looking taillight, our rear view camera, Hyundai logo, our whale tail spoiler / third brake light, and then a pretty small trunk. Like, it's deep, but the opening isn't big, and we have some of my gear here. I've done a few Sam's Club runs with no problem. Under the hood here, there is a very small storage area, which has a level 1 charger. It comes with a tire mobility kit. You can kind of see the inverter, or at least some of the wiring back there. You do have a 12-volt battery here, just like a normal car. This is a very light hood. I think it's aluminum. You do have LED turn signals, and these are the running lights. They're actually amber, and then you have the nice LED projector beams. There are these active aero flaps that open and close depending on, I guess, airflow for the battery. So I think that's pretty cool. And there is a radar sensor in there as well. This doesn't do full self-driving, but it will do cruise control, lane keep, distance, and everything like that. So you pretty much just have to lightly touch the steering wheel and it drives for you. It's just not called full self-driving. So with all that said, should you be scared of electric cars? Well, no. They're just another form of propulsion for a car. Just like anything else. Like, think of a Power Wheels. It's just a bigger Power Wheels. I don't think EVs are a bad thing. I just think a lot of people are scared of them, and they do have their drawbacks. But if you can get one for a good price, you have a good charging infrastructure, you can save money on fuel, and I guess feel better about not putting pollution into the sky. Am I completely sold? I like it. I don't know if I'm completely sold. Like I said, there's still cars with engines that I want. Is it super fast and fun and been a great experience so far? Yes, that too. The level 2 charging is a little bit slower, you know, than pumping gas by a few hours. But the level 3 charging works really well if you can find one. Can this be a daily driver for people? Of course. It's been perfect for me. The fast, smooth, quiet ride paired with the low maintenance makes it an excellent choice for just getting around town, small commutes, and maybe not road trips if you're not quite ready for that. But for what I do, my use case, it's been working perfectly. Drop in the comments, what do you think of electric cars? Would you consider one? Do you think they're gonna fade away? They might, we don't know. I think internal combustion engines are here to stay. Seem like they're really trying to phase them out there for a while, but they're back. Hybrids are huge right now. Kind of the best option for most people that don't want to go full electric. Full electric was a big step. I can't say I regret it. I do like the car, and yeah, we'll see how the rest of the lease goes. With all that said, I want to say thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, helps my channel out. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Marty Motoring. And as always, keep those wheels turning.